Hey everybody, it's Alex here, and on today's episode of the YaBonks Show, I have a very special guest, someone you may have seen before on my channel. I have Danny, aka The Godfather, from MDB, which stands for Make DeFi Better, and if you haven't watched our first AMA together from July, go check it out. It's really great. We cover all the aspects of security and risks and the potential of MDB itself. Very educational video. Danny, do you want to say hi to the audience? And for those who don't know you, do you want to give a little introduction and maybe tell just a little something about MDB and what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be here again. Thank you, YaBonks. So I'm Danny. Nice to meet everybody. If it's for the first time, thanks for tuning in. We launched, MDB as an ecosystem. We launched on April 29th, and the clue is in the name, right? Make DeFi better. Ultimately, the protocol really is a product of I suppose some frustration around lots of what we see within crypto. I think there's huge opportunity within blockchain technology, smart contracts, the power of communities and the sheer efficiencies that are available, quite often, unfortunately, wasted. I thought a lot about what are the major things that mean that protocols don't work out, and really MDB is the result of lots of thought and lots of I suppose stress testing of the different things that kill protocols. And ultimately, our core token in a nutshell is built upon a system we call capitalsynergy. Really, the goal is to decrease supply and increase the funds in the protocol. And so the description I use, you imagine if there's a pot of gold in the middle of a football stadium and there's people in the football stadium, you divide that pot of gold between everybody. That's the value, right, of a ticket to the game. If you take seats out of the football stadium and the pot of gold gets bigger, there's more money per person there. And ultimately, the tickets to the game really are the tokens. So our supply is coming down very quickly. We've been 13% in 4 months, and the funds are going up, albeit not as quickly as we would like, because it's a very difficult market. But they are going up. We've gone from sort of 1.5 million up to 2 million since we started. Considering sort of the fact that we've bought back and burnt about 1.3 million worth of tokens, that's pretty strong. And then we have other investment options within the protocol as well. So we have a couple of stable backed assets. One of them is gamified. That's a lot of game potential, maybe as much as 10% a month, 15% a month. But there is a slight sort of risk there of a few percent exposure, worst case scenario. And then we have something called MDB Plus, which has a much slower growth curve, but almost zero risk exposure actually, and that both of those are stable backed assets. And then you can stake your MDB tokens, you can farm your MDB tokens for fantastic rewards. But because it's deflationary, because of the design of the system, very sustainable, and that's why the market has gone this way. And MDB, as well as a fantastic community and a great team that we've got, MDB has gone in the other direction.
Awesome, great introduction. And for those who don't know, I have a position myself in MDB, and it's one of my best performing positions over the past 2 months in the bear market, and it has outperformed BNB, which it's paired with. So if you compare MDB versus BNB on the chart, last night actually it hit all-time highs compared to BNB. So that's very cool. It seems like the model is working so far. And also, a lot of you might be watching because you might have entered into my MDB NFT giveaway, and Danny and his team were kind enough to give me a Phoenix Fire Club NFT, which pays out monthly MDB rewards forever, basically, and it's doubled in price since he gave it to me for this giveaway. So it's now worth like $1,500 last time I checked a few days ago. The contest runs for 2 more days, so if you haven't entered into it, check it out on my Twitter and my YouTube channel. Enter in if you haven't. And a lot of you are probably watching because you entered into that contest because you see $1,500 NFT. But what's MDB? What is it? What does this all mean? So hopefully this helps explain more about MDB, what they're doing, and if you win that NFT, what it means for you going forward. It's more of a utility NFT than a piece of artwork. So I just wanted to cover that really quickly. The big news right now, though, is Infinity. So you are launching a feature called Infinity, and it's like MDB but more volatile and more fun for the more high risk degen enthusiasts like myself. I'm probably gonna mess around with this big time. I've been having fun in Phoenix Plus, which is what you were talking about. That's been having like 10 or 15% monthly, and I've been doing great in that. I haven't been infernoed out, thankfully, so like it's just keeps on going. But Phoenix Plus is actually tied to Infinity. So before I go on any further, people probably want to know, Danny, what is Infinity?
Yeah, and look, to step back, I think it's we've taken some of the great things from MDB and plagiarized them in Infinity. Infinity is a completely new token. What MDB is a very sort of steady, appreciating asset over time that's got lots of different revenue streams coming in from all parts of the protocol. It's like a share in a, you imagine it like a share in a business, really. However, you can't trade it. The volatility is limited because it's got quite a large LP, relatively speaking, to the market cap. Whereas Infinity is very different, actually. So Infinity is paired with Phoenix Plus, which means that the LP can only appreciate, actually. And I know that always sounds, that's like always like a worrying statement for people, but the mechanics of our stable backed asset mean that the BUSD locked in the liquidity pool is always equal to the circulating supply plus $1. And actually, when you sell the token, then it destroys the supply. So it can only appreciate. So on top of that, it's then got very low taxes. So it's like 5% tax. 40% of those taxes go into the LP pair, into Phoenix Plus. 60% of those taxes go into the Infinity Fund, which is using its interest to make very aggressive buybacks. So some of that, all of the buybacks are burned, so that is also hyper deflationary. But the Infinity Fund will also, if you stake Infinity, the Infinity Fund is also buying MDB and dropping MDB rewards. So Infinity actually acts as an engine for many different, actually every single part of the protocol gets fired up really from Infinity. Super efficient, actually. There is no direct income from Infinity for the project or the team. 100% of the tax is either feeding to the LP or into the Infinity Fund. There's no capital leakage at all. So it will be extremely volatile. It'll have a skinny LP. It could, I think on launch day, multiple X's, but then also that naturally comes with some risk, is very possible. But even in a BAU situation, once you get past that launch, I'd fully expect that you will regularly see swings of north of 50%, and multiple X's won't be something that's rare, I would say.
Man, that's a lot to unpack. And I have gone through the documentation and the videos, and I've been going through everything you've been doing over the past few weeks leading up to this, and it's so much to unpack for somebody hearing this for the first time. So, and I really want to focus on Infinity, because if people want to learn really the details about MDB and MDB Plus, the last AMA we did covers that stuff thoroughly, very thoroughly.
Yeah.
And so I really want to focus on Infinity because it's about to launch. People are asking me what it is, how does it work, is it worth getting into? And I'm always like, I don't give financial advice, so make that decision yourself. But here's how it works. So you're saying theoretically over time, the price of Infinity should trend upwards based on these tokenomics.
Yeah, it will be very volatile. The base price, I suppose, if we talk about floor price, right?
Floor
price
price.
is dictated by the supply and the mathematics that are involved. Because the supply is depreciating and it has this hyper appreciating LP, we're doing something that's never been done. Actually, there's parts of our protocol where we've seen great things and we've used those. Actually, this system is 100% sort of all of our own original ideas, and there's mechanisms in there that have never been seen. So, but it will be very volatile. I think, to put it maybe in a slightly misogynistic way, MDB Plus will be super safe. Yeah, she will. She's super safe, but she's not exciting at all, right? She'll bore you
MDB
to
Plus
death.
is a she.
Yeah, it's all she, and they're beautiful creatures, and I think women are much more beautiful creatures than men are, and if you think about Infinity is really high on the crazy hot scale. You know, you'll have the weekend of your life, but you know, don't cry if she breaks your heart on a Monday.
Right.
Whereas MDB, you take home to meet your parents. Yeah, that's your life, because everything else feeds into MDB in one form or another. It's either driving volume or value back to it. But Infinity, you know, if you want a freaky weekend, Infinity is that. And like I say, it's you know, you'll be thinking about those 2 days for the rest of your life, but at the same time, she might break your heart, and that's what you're signing up for.
Please tell me you thought these analogies up previously, or did you just make that up on the fly? Because those are great analogies.
And maybe there's a bit of, there's plenty of repetition there, but you know, obviously I've thought through this before, and I think that actually there's some really serious parallels there, because we work in an industry where people want to tell you that you can have one without the other, and it's just a lie, right? I think one thing that you can do, if you look at a protocol like ours, you get probably much better returns considering the risk profile than you get in other so there is always a difference depending on the tokenomics of the team and stuff like that. But fundamentally, if you've got something that can times 2 times 3 times 4 in a day in value, then it can also come down very quickly. And that is,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, there's some structures out there that might times 100 based on their tokenomics, but when it does go, Jesus, it's going to go hard. And yeah, so I think I like the analogy because it's a very open explanation that you know you get in the time of your life, but you know that means that it's going to be tough to let go if you get your heart broken. But you know that's what we're in it for.
So, just to be clear, Infinity is much higher risk than MDB from a tokenomics perspective because of the volatility, but that's designed to be that way to allow swing trading
Exactly.
for fun and profit and things like that. And that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons I enjoy certain like seniorage protocols like tomb forks, they're also known as, because like the share token, which is a much riskier asset to play around with, but it's usually a much thinner liquidity, so there's much higher potential for volatility. And if you time things right and you keep your finger on the pulse of things, like you can oftentimes do a multiple or multiples in a day or a couple days. And so Infinity is going to have that thin liquidity that you're saying could 2, 3, 4x in a day and then come crashing back down. So if people are watching and like they're impulsive swing traders, day traders, like out here trying to have fun making multiples, they can throw in some disposable income, right? Because it's risky, and they could potentially see that
Yeah,
volatility that
there
presents
is.
opportunities.
Yeah, and I think we're talking about one part of Infinity, to be fair. There's 3 strategies with Infinity. You've got the highest risk strategy is trying to trade, but that also has the highest reward, right? If you can buy the bottom and sell the top 3 or 4 times, then you know you can make crazy sums of money. But there's also obviously a lot of risk in that if you judge it wrong.
Right.
In the middle, we've got staking, so you can stake your Infinity. So if you're in early, it's very difficult for Infinity to live below its launch price. Very similar to MDB itself. Actually, people didn't believe me pre MDB launch, and now that you know the truth is in the chart. So if you're in early with Infinity and you want to hedge your bets, actually, if you just stake it, you'll earn MDB for staking it, for locking it up. So you can kind of split your strategy. You can maybe trade some of your bag and take some risk with it, and then you can stake some of your bag and earn. Or the third piece is there's actually an NFT. So there'll be an NFT that goes on sale, goes on that you can mint at the pre-sale that are in limited supply. There's only 300 of them. And that has the equivalent of $1,000 at launch price of Infinity locked into it. So that's a super safe strategy because versus the others, relatively speaking, because that NFT can only be staked. You can't trade it. But if Infinity is up to 3 times and that NFT is earning you, you know, 50, 60, 70% APY, plus it's grown multiple X's, then you know you've potentially got huge returns there. But you can't trade it back and forth.
Now, so when you say you can't trade it, does that mean you can't trade that NFT on NFT marketplaces?
Yeah, you can. You've got this asset that appreciates, and you can sell it on the secondary market. But You
Okay.
can't, it's not that, you've got the value of the NFT is what somebody else is prepared to pay you for it, which will be based on the inherent value of the infinity that's locked in it and the rewards that it's earning. That will decide the value, rather than these, the volatility that you're going to see with infinity.
And 300 is a very small supply for the NFTs. The 500, it was the Phoenix Fire Club 500 NFTs.
It was 500, yeah.
Yeah, those are hard to come by, and like I'm giving one away like for that giveaway, and in just like a 2 or 3 weeks since you gave that to me to set up a giveaway, it has doubled in value. Like I could sell that on nftrades.com for $1,500, and I think they started at $750 approximately in
And you've
value.
earned 2 months rewards from it. Remember, is the way we try and design things in a way that they're very sustainable. So yeah, we're talking about infinity, but even if you look at the old NFT, it's designed for you to be able to earn, but it still goes up in value. That's the objective of the NFT. And so far, a couple of months in, you've earned money. It's given you some passive income.
Yeah,
Plus the asset itself has gone up in value.
I think I have received the 1 month of rewards from it, because I think I got that one. Like I don't. So I have 2 NFTs. One I bought for myself, and then one you gave me. And a few days ago, I got like the first rewards, I think, for it. So that I think I've only gotten the first rewards for the giveaway one, but still, it was like $75 worth of MDB, which has since gone up in value, and so that's pretty cool. That the NFT that I bought for myself is going to keep supplying that same amount of MDB every month. And I'm assuming the Infinity NFTs, I think they're called the Infinity Yacht Club NFTs, are also going to be supplying an amount of Infinity tokens every single month that you can either sell, stake, or do.
The Infinity NFT, you stake it and it earns you MDB. So actually, it will pay you out in MDB, and as well as you having this asset itself, which hopefully appreciates, and then you've got something you can take to the open market and make multiple X's. It will pay you in MDB, and you could sell that MDB and cash it in. That's up to you, or you can take the MDB into Xenia or our DApp, and you could stake it for double-digit returns, or you could pair it with BNB and farm it for triple-digit returns. Or like I say, you could just sell it and put the cash in your pocket.
So the NFTs contain 5,000 Infinity, though, right? Like so there are Infinity tokens locked into it. They never come out. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good to know. And the rewards when you stake that NFT are paid out in MDB, much like the Phoenix Fire Club NFTs, which have turned out to be one of the best plays I've made so far this bear market, buying that NFT, which if you guys saw the live stream during your minting video, you all witnessed me FOMOing in real time on camera, and I was like, Alice, Mina, please extend this for a few more minutes, as I'm like sitting here like messing with my ledger, like come on. And I am so glad I did that, though, as many jokes have been made at my expense about that day. It has it's paid off, and my wife, she's happy. She still doesn't understand it. She doesn't understand NFTs. She's like, that's worth money? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I don't get it, but okay. So it's paid off great, and I'm actually going to be battling it out for one of these Infinity NFTs, because I'm already positioned. What do you need to do to qualify in the pre-sale for the Infinity NFTs?
Interestingly, so the NFT will just be an open mint, so anyone can buy that. You don't have to be on whitelist. So there will be, I suspect there'll be, there's lots of people that are on the whitelist, and there's a max allocation. So if we'll be releasing details in the next couple of days. We're going to have a relatively small public whitelist for Infinity tokens, and otherwise, if you want to be on the whitelist for Infinity, you need to be a member of the Millionaires Club, which you are as well, YaBonks. Actually, it's just owning $500 of MDB. You're not giving it up; it's still yours. if you joined the Millionaires Club 6 weeks ago, which I think you probably did actually, YaBonks. I think you probably, you got fantastic upside on your entry
I
point.
think so. So after our first conversation, you sold the hell out of me, bro. I was just like, man, that guy, he dazzled me with his fancy words and his sophisticated accent, and I immediately bought MDB after our interview, and yeah. So, but I put it in the MDB BNB farm, and I really enjoy liquidity farming as a passive income strategy. I lend out my liquidity and I get paid back in whatever form on multiple platforms. It's in this bear market. It's been one of my lower risk ways to generate some yield and do okay. And my MDB BNB farm position has been basically my most profitable liquidity providing position the past 2 months or whenever we did our last AMA. And
Oh, it's crazy.
but the thing is, people should know this: the bot in your Discord server that verifies if you're in the Millionaires Club doesn't read the MDB BNB farm. I found out last night, and I was like, why isn't it like? I'm like, I have enough. I have like $500 of BNB in the pair that I'm farming with. Why am I not getting verified? And the mods told me, it's the bot's not that, it can't read the LPs, so it can read what you have in the single staking and stuff like that. So last night I bought $500, 53,000 MDB tokens, I think, is the current minimum requirement to get in the Millionaires Club. And so I bought that many last night and I single staked them in the MDB single stake in the Xenia app. And then immediately after that, there was like crazy buys, like $20,000+ bought after me like that. And I'm like, oh man. And the price just like shot up over a cent for each MDB, and it hit all-time highs last night right after I bought. So I was freaking out. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And yeah, fun. It was fun, exciting night, man. But yes, I'm a millionaire in the Millionaire Club sense. So yeah.
And to be fair, we get people make fun of the $1 million baby thing, which is the name of our first token. It comes from a really honest place, actually. It's not about sort of moon boy, sort of everyone will be a millionaire. Actually, it's because we wanted to design a protocol where large numbers of people could make good money. And if YaBonks, who is in today, decides that he's going to cash out his $1 million, then actually the way the protocol is designed, whilst he might sell down the liquidity pool today, he's actually helping the protocol be even stronger tomorrow because of coming in and coming out and the way the taxes work. So it's we genuinely want to see people. We're going to have a Hall of Fame. I think we're like a ×2 away from having our first $1 million baby, which would be the first sort of holder in our ecosystem who has $1 million worth. Wow. And then we'll have a Hall of Fame there afterwards. And even maybe a little bit of alpha. I haven't told anybody this. I thought this morning. I'm thinking that I'm going to take 1 million of my own tokens at my own personal allocation, and the first $10 million baby, so the first 10 holders who hit $1 million worth of MDB held, I'm going to give away 100,000 MDB tokens at random. So I suspect that 100,000 tokens will be worth somewhere in the region of probably as much as maybe $5,000 by that point. So yeah, and maybe even by the 10th, it could be worth much more. So yeah,
when you mint your first 10 millionaires from $1 million baby token, you are going to be giving away 100,000 tokens to 10 different people at random. Is it going to be to those 10 millionaires or to the community?
No. Okay. They've got enough money as it is.
The 1%.
Yeah. Well done for being rich. Here's some more money. No, and I haven't spoken to anyone about this, and I'll pay for it myself personally. And I thought it'd be nice to say the first 10 who go into the Hall of Fame. So it's the first 10, and there's no pressure to sell, by the way. So if they want to continue on, as I know, our largest holder, I think he'll continue on for many years because he really understands the protocol. Then the first 10 in the Hall of Fame, I will give $100,000. 100,000. Whoa. Cut. I would give 100,000 MDB tokens away to one person. So I'll do that 10 times. Yeah.
So for every at that point in time when you've made 10 millionaires, for every millionaire you made, you're going to give away 100,000 tokens or $5,000 to random community members.
But if we make one and then the next one isn't for a while, then we'll do the one. We'll do it as and when it happens.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. Man, so this, I just want to clarify for people. I don't like do, I don't do like paid shilling and stuff like that. This is actually a position that I've taken with my own money. So this is one of my personal plays, and that's why I'm talking positively about it, because that is transparently how I view this project, and whether people agree with me or not on projects and what projects are good or bad or tokenomics or this or that. Personally, I am placing a bet on MDB and Danny and his team with my own money. So I oftentimes like to delineate in my videos between a short-term play, a degen YOLO play, as I call it, with disposable income that I am ready to lose, much to my wife's chagrin, and then long-term value plays that I think could be, personally to me, and I know the term moon is highly criticized, but to me would be a moonshot, right? If this plays out as expected and Danny and his team keep executing and hitting the goals, and the project keeps performing as planned and engineered, then I'm hoping after a couple years, my MDB position, which I'm just going to single stake and let it kind of auto compound on itself, might be worth a lot of money. So it's one of my like longer term plays in that regard. So going into the next bull market, I'm planning to have accrued a significant portion of an MDB in my personal portfolio. Obviously, diversify and manage your risk reward and your own personal risk tolerance and all that. But not financial advice. That's just what I'm doing. I just want to be transparent with everybody so you know where I'm coming from and why you often will see me going around talking about MDB and all the Discord servers and seeming bullish about it, because that's personally how I feel about it. Danny's not telling me to say that. I oftentimes, I tell people, project owners, I will be honest about my positions and how I feel about your project, no matter what. So if it's good or bad, and this one, I feel good about it. So Danny, don't let me down.
No problem. No problem. I've just noticed I'm holding a ledger actually. Whilst you're saying that, this is just what I'm just playing with this here. You're saying he's not paying me to say that. I'm going with a ledger in my hand. It's got nothing on it, by the way.
By the way, that's a good ledger. This version feels so good in the hand. That's why I really like this one versus the first version. Anyway, feels good to press the buttons. They're real clacky.
Don't talk to me about cybersecurity. How does it feel in my hand?
That's all that matters. How cool does it look? And how good does it feel to press those buttons?
It's ribbed for his pleasure. Right. Okay.
Gonna get me demonetized, Danny. Oh man, speaking of crazy things people say on YouTube, how about your AMA the other day with Mr. Voice Modulator coming in and calling you an infidel and all this crazy stuff, man? That was a riot.
I know, that's so 2001 to call people an infidel as well.
That is 2001.
It's people have got past that now, but yeah, he's an interesting character. It was funny because he was a lot of big man talk, and then he screwed up his big moment. So supposedly 3 days. I think, when does this go out? Is this going out by the 6th? He says
I'm gonna try. So I'm gonna have to do editing and getting it all ready, doing the SEO stuff, preparing for it, and then hopefully tonight my time. I know you're in UK land, but today, if I'm lucky, It'll take me quite a few
UK
hours to
land.
get it ready, but I
Make it sound
might.
like a theme park.
It's a mystical foreign land to me. I've never been there,
Yeah.
so it's just like
Take
it
the kids,
exists in my
get on the
head.
teacup.
And you'll like this. I love precious metals. I know I have ADD and I'm all over the place, Danny, but I just want to show you this. I think you might appreciate it.
Ah.
So this is a silver coin, and it is the
Yeah.
British Symbols mint
Yeah.
series that I got on a JM Bullion a while back ago, and they were this came out. And I just thought it was cool because my wife loves everything England, everything Britain, especially like the old timey traditional stuff, and like she's a big fan of like classic literature over there and everything. So I got her this, and she does not understand precious metals or like investing that. So anyway, so I'm like stacking my bullion, right, and my coins and my rounds and stuff, and I'm like, hey, look, honey, I got you something, and she's like, what am I gonna do with that? I'm like, you can look at it, it's pretty.
Yeah. It'll be worth a lot of money in the future.
Yeah. So anyway, I
Yeah.
thought you'd appreciate that. I got something like, and it's right on my desk. I got something England, UK themed. So
UK land.
coming soon. Yeah. So okay, let's let's get back on track. Me and you, man, we were talking about this earlier. We should start a podcast, not MDB focused or anything like that. Just like you and me shooting the breeze about DeFi and like just investing and this whole space in general. We have great discussions like outside of these AMAs. People might not know it, but like we have fantastic conversations about a lot of the stuff that goes on out here. And I think you'd be a great person to talk about that stuff with. I think people would really enjoy watching that. So keep your ears open if we do decide to do something like that. But I want to talk about Infinity still. What haven't we covered yet with Infinity that you think my audience should know?
Yeah, so we covered the NFTs, right? How they work. With staking, like I say, you can buy some Infinity tokens, and then you can then you can decide to split your strategy if you like. You can trade some of them, like I say, very low taxes and high volatility lends itself to trading opportunities. But if you don't want to kind of put it all on the line, keep some chips to the side and earn some passive income, then you can just stake them in Xenia or our app. And that also will earn you MDB rewards, right? The tokens will earn you MDB. So, and where it's very different as well. So not only will it be volatile, the taxes are very low. It's got this hyper appreciating LP, which is just look. Let me put it into a nutshell. Phoenix Plus can only go up in value, and since it launched about 6-7 weeks ago, Phoenix Plus has gone from $1 in value to $1.24, I think it is right now. And once it reaches a price, once it moves up, it can't go down. It's mathematically impossible, no matter how scammy that sounds. It's absolutely true. It's not algorithmic or anything like that. It's actually quite simple mathematical a mathematical structure. So yeah,
so
that's that's what Infinity is going to be paired with. So rather than BTC goes down, BNB goes down, and then there'll be none of that. It's paired with something that can only appreciate.
And I called you out on that in our first AMA about MDB Plus. I'm like, Danny, this doesn't make sense. How can you say only goes up? And as soon as somebody says that, like my BS meter's like off the charts. I'm like, dude, you can't say stuff like that. And you're like, well, so Phoenix Plus works similarly to MDB Plus. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, it's just more aggressive. So MDB Plus grows more slowly, but it has very low taxes. Supply is always backed 100% by BUSD plus $1 at all times. Phoenix Plus is exactly the same, but it has higher taxes at 2% in, 2% out. But it also has a unique cash out feature, which we also have on MDB Plus actually. So that's something unique that we built into the structure. So somebody could grow over $50,000 holding of MDB Plus, but within the contract we do have a function where you can basically force a sell down of a holder. So if you had $52,000, YaBonks, and there's too many people holding too much, you can press a button and you'd have $2,000 of BUSD would just appear in your wallet. And that's the contract just destroying the $2,000 of MDB Plus and giving the BUSD that backs it from the LP. That function is much more aggressive in Phoenix Plus, actually. So you have something called an Inferno. So it randomly selects people, and you know, you combine all of this with Infinity, it's going to go absolutely nuts in the next couple of weeks. We've already gone from less than 100k TVL marching towards $1 million within a week. I expect, you know, those sorts of numbers in the APYs to be crazy. I think we touched as high as 400 or 500 APY on Phoenix Plus recently. It's dropped down now because there's a big lump of capital in there waiting for pre-sale. So it's dropped down to about 70%, I think. But when
I'll show it on the screen, and this is my personal wallet, my positions, guys. I am super open about this stuff. I don't care, whatever. Here you go, APY. And this first number, so the Xenia app's interesting. It's not like promising an APY. It's showing the APY since the launch date on the left, and then on the right, it's showing the 7-day APY based on its 7-day performance for the last 7 days. So since it started, its APY, if it keeps going how it has, is 382%. And then for over the past 7 days, its APY is 75%, and it's up to $1.24. Did I explain that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what that means there is that the APY is slowing down, and that's because if you have a larger sum of capital in it and a lower volume ratio, then that APY slows down. Now you'll see that there's $823,000 in Phoenix Plus. Phoenix Plus is what you need to get in the pre-sale of Infinity. So it's the currency that you're going to use. So a massive chunk of that capital, and that TVL will go up over the next week for sure. You're going to see $1 million move out of Phoenix Plus. Now, when it moves out of Phoenix Plus, there's a 2% tax which stays in the LP. So whoever is still in Phoenix Plus after all that capital moves out, their APY is going to be going crazy. And then Infinity is going to launch, and because Infinity is paired with Phoenix Plus, it's going to be driving really high APY. And actually, the TVL will probably be lower than it was pre-sale. Yeah, so it will be super interesting. But I suppose the unique element is that you can be cashed out. So some people, since Phoenix Plus started, have been cashed out, which is like a random selection thing. We've said no cash outs until after Infinity launch now. So that's why a lot of capital is moving in there, because people know they can make that APY at the moment with zero risk of cash out until after Infinity launch. Yeah, so it's a very unique feature. But you imagine if you've got a TVL of like 2 million and you've got volume running through it at those sorts of levels, even if you randomly cashed out, you got a 1 in 20 chance of being cashed out every day, for instance, you'd still be better off. Some people have never been cashed out, so they're up 24%.
I have never been cashed out. Do not target me, please.
I know a guy who it was between $7,000 and $10,000. He put in twice and he got cashed out twice. And he actually DM'd me and he was like, "I can't believe you selected me again." I'm like, "We didn't select. It's completely random." So YaBonks has made great APY because of this poor fellow who got cashed. But the exposure is tiny.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, poor fellow. Your sacrifice was not in vain.
Yeah. And post Infinity as well, we will be introducing something that doesn't exist now. At the moment, it's not happening now, but it's normally completely random. We'll be introducing a 48-hour grace period. So you definitely won't get cashed out within 48 hours of buying Phoenix Plus after Infinity launches. But I'm at risk of overcomplicating this discussion.
Yeah, so that's cool. And when you get cashed out, there's actually an additional tax, right? So I think if you get cashed out, it's a 6% total hit that you take. 2% in, 4% out. But if you did I get that right? If I look at
it is, and I think we focus too much on that 6%, to be honest, because it's the probability of you hitting that 6% is extremely slim. So you pay 2% in, it's 2% out if you sell yourself. But if you get cashed out, then it's 3% out, which is a total of 5. The other 1% is because if you get cashed out, you'll be cashed out into MDB Plus. So it will take
and there's
0.75% in, 0.25% out, and there's your other 1%.
I see. So it's 2% in, and if you get cashed out by the Inferno to MDB Plus, it's 3% out of Phoenix, and then MDB, the total in and out is 1% total.
MDB
0.25
plus, yeah.
in and 0.75% tax out of MDB Plus.
0.75 in, 0.25 out.
Oh man, okay, good. My bad. I've been mixing those up then. So 0.75% in, 0.25%
Yeah.
out for MDB Plus. So I
Yeah.
have not been cashed out. I actually had my strategy is actually something you said in the chat room last night, and I have been running this strategy for the past month or so with my Phoenix Plus. So I've been trying to get MDB Plus to like put some of my dry powder stable coins into to just like sit and let appreciate over time because it's super cool. It's an appreciating stable coin that's fully collateralized with BUSD. And I'm like, man, the degen in me is like, well, I should just put that money first in Phoenix Plus and just set it and forget it and just wait for it to inferno me out into MDB Plus. So my strategy, which was kind of crazy, I started with like $300. I put more into it to get into this pre-sale for Infinity, by the way. So like last night I topped up, I moved all like the rest of my MDB Plus back into Phoenix Plus so I can get that $1,000 minimum to get the Infinity NFT. I'm gonna be fighting for one of those. But my strategy is I've been putting cash into Phoenix Plus, and then I've just been waiting to get Infernoed out into MDB Plus to build my MDB Plus position. And I sat in Phoenix Plus for like over a month, did not get cashed out. I made way more than 6% on like the 250 or $300 I put in it. I put in like $250 and it was just growing and growing, and I still didn't get cashed out. And then all of a sudden, you tell me, I hear in the announcements, no more Infernos for the Phoenix Plus until Infinity launches. And I'm just like, all right, moving everything into Phoenix Plus.
It's a smart play. There's $650,000 in MDB Plus at the moment. If I get it, if you paired, because we're on Cone, so there's a fantastic pair on Cone with USD Plus and MDB Plus. You compare at the moment. You compare MDB Plus with eShare on the EMP system. So MDB Plus is used by other protocols. But if you're not in one of those and you're just holding it, you might as well just chuck it into Phoenix Plus. So, and then you take your chances. If you don't get cashed out for say 30 days, you're going to make so much money from it, and it can never go down in value. If you get cashed out after a few days, then so what? It ends up back in MDB Plus, and you're probably no worse off.
And I just want to make sure everybody understands like the risk reward here is there's the chance in Phoenix Plus that you could take a 5%, 2% in, 3% out if you get infernoed out. If you go in voluntarily and leave voluntarily, it's 2 in, 2 out.
But remember that 5%, you would have to literally be the last person in. There's been no buys or sells, and then you were infernoed out. The probability of that is minuscule, and that's a marketing failure on and that's my fault really, rather than Alice's fault. Where because we always want to be really responsible, we focus too much on the tax. The probability of that happening is ridiculously small.
I agree, and that's one of the focuses of my channel is I try to be so like clear about the risks, because a lot of times people will say, oh, you talked about this project and I didn't know and I lost money. And oftentimes it's they buy high and sell low and then get mad at me because I talked about it on my YouTube channel. But with this, I just want people to know, like, this is your total risk exposure in a worst case scenario, right? So yeah, from a marketing perspective, glamorizing the worst case scenario is not ideal. But like I said, I've been in it for over a month and a half, and making like, I think I bought in at like $1.12. So I'm up over like 12% on my position. So even if I get infernoed out, like I'm way up on that in a month. That's super, super cool. So anyway, I like Phoenix Plus. I'm actually going to just keep chucking money into it to build up my MDB Plus position, because I have a little higher risk tolerance. This is much lower potential, 1% total round trip. And if you sit in it for, what's it at right now, 45% APY. So you sit in that for like 2 weeks, and then anything after that's just profit in a stable coin, basically, that's fully collateralized with BUSD, which is fully collateralized with US dollars. Anyway, dude, I think that part of the ecosystem is super cool. I'm a big fan of it. I know there are other protocols doing similar things, but the success of this kind of thing really is determined by volume churn, right? Like, so volume churn
Yeah.
is going to speed this appreciation up because, as you've
Yeah.
said, I think you've quoted Sim from Sphere, and he called it a flywheel effect. And I like to use like volume churn, and then okay, you churn volume, and it spins that flywheel, and it gets faster.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting concept, and the reason I like to point out why I like your implementation of this type of a stable coin system is because MDB it's hot right now, right? Like it as Will Ferrell and Zoolander says, MDB is so hot right now. You guys are great at marketing. You're out there face first, bullheaded, telling people this is what it is, and you are not afraid of confrontation. Any skeptics, you go like head on into them and say, "Come at me, bro!" Like, and I love that attitude, and I think the community does too. MDB is one of the best community sentiments out here right now, especially in a bear market. You guys are super positive, and I think it has a lot to do with your leadership, with Alice's leadership and community building skills and everything like that. Like people rally around your whole team, so I think that's why you guys are performing so much better than, in my opinion, other people who are trying to use similar implementations. Because at the end of the day, this is a people business, right? And if nobody
Well,
knows
you know
about
what?
it,
Somebody works in the industry told me recently. They said nobody really launches a project to save the world. Yeah,
yeah,
and I think that's our USP actually. When we have our we're not trying to save the world. We're trying to make people money, right?
yeah,
And we're very open about that. But at the same time, when we have our own private discussions as a team, it's always everybody first. Rather, there's never a conflict. There is never a conflict of interest where individual is trying to profit before everybody together. Everybody, yeah, I've heard some rumors about the salaries of people and the size of our team. Everybody in our team is a significant private investor in MDB that personally got a huge amount of skin in the game. I think everybody is definitely putting more in than they've got out of it, for their time and efforts. And I think that, yeah, when somebody told me that, when they said, look, it's all great, make DeFi better, but come on, nobody really does something for the greater good. I realized at that moment that if that person is right, then that really is our USP. Because guess what, we genuinely are, and that's it's not somewhere where your interests as an investor are going to conflict with the interests of the team. They are 100% aligned.
what does USP mean?
Unique selling point.
Okay, good to know.
Which is
Thanks for
not
my
fair.
business
That's
lesson
not,
for
that's
the
not
day.
fair for me to say. That's one of our unique selling points that makes us stand out. I think there's a number of projects, and there's some fantastic project leads out there as well who have similar ethics, actually.
Yeah,
But I think there's so many dickheads, quite frankly, in DeFi
yes,
that there is this goldfish bowl, or it's probably, rather than a goldfish bowl, it's maybe better to call it a snake pit. And you can be so deep in that snake pit that you can imagine that anybody isn't a snake. And that's
yeah.
maybe if you think everybody's a snake, maybe you need to make new friends. And well, I just thought I'd share that. Go off on one.
Well, I think I think that's a very relevant point you make. It is DeFi. It's unregulated, and anybody can come out here with any mask and any alias, and they can launch anything for very little money. And spin up an entire fantasy world with their words to draw in people's money and separate them from it somehow, right? And a lot of times it's when those incentives and motivations and interests aren't aligned, then you get imbalances and
Yeah.
inequities. Now, if you are eating your own dog food, as they say, that's like a in software engineering, like that means you're using the tools that you've built in my
Yeah.
industry. So you're using your own stuff because you believe in it and you know it's the best or it's good and it works. So if you guys are investing in your own thing, that's a good sign. And obviously, people need to get paid for their time and their work and everything like that. So, like, I always make it a point to say, like, teams and developers should be getting compensated fairly for their time and work, because there's this weird perception out here in DeFi that everything needs to be altruistic and developers should be doing this all for free. That doesn't work. That just gets you rug pull and rug pull and rug pull, because those people are going to make money somehow, right? If there's no financial incentive, then why would somebody spend all their time and effort working out here? So it's like you want to make a good living, but at the same time, you want to do something cool and good for your customers, really. So like if your interests are aligned there, then like everybody should be happy, and it's like balancing that so that way you're not like pulling out more that affects the sustainability of the thing. It's how do you balance paying your team and keeping your people happy and
Yeah.
and building everybody's positions in this thing at the same time. Uh, and that's why I think it's okay to have team salaries and it's okay to have equity. You know, I have to be careful with my terminology, but like to have a stake in your own project in some way, so that way if you make the project succeed, you succeed, right? And then that's like a great incentive to really do a great job on something. Just my 2 cents on that.
Very
So
good.
so
So we covered Infinity.
we covered Infinity. We covered some of your ideologies out here, and there are some really great projects and project leaders out here that I have met too. And one of them you mentioned that you've partnered with, EMP. You said eShare has been paired with MDB Plus on Cone. Did I
No,
did I
it's no. Sorry, it's confusing two things there. So, in partnership
Okay,
with Sphere, there's a USD plus MDB plus pair on Cone.
that's what it
Uh,
is.
there's a MDB plus eShare pair as well on the EMP system. But actually, we've just announced EMP is one of the Infinity partners. It was the reason I'm tired today. Thank you, AJ, because he always does the AMAs about midnight UK time. So I was on the
Yeah.
AMA late last night, and yeah, we huge fans of their team actually, and so they're one of our Infinity partners, and what that means is that we will invest a big portion of the Infinity fund goes into EMP, and the ROI from the fund will be used to buy MDB rewards and to buy back and burn Infinity. So that you can also get some, if you're a VIP, or I think they have, I think it's their army, I think it's called in EMP. Then you can also potentially get on our Infinity whitelist that way as well.
Awesome. And I'm a big fan of AJ myself. I met him a week or two ago, and we've video chatted a few times. We've been talking a lot. He's a really cool dude. Lives nearby to me, and we've had some great conversations. And I think we have a lot of similar thoughts about DeFi in general and projects out here and people and communities. I like him. I'm actually doing an AMA with him next weekend about EMP, and I'll ask like about the whole eShare MDB Plus pairing and like the methodology and the thinking there and that partnership. So that'll be a cool question to ask. I want to show on the screen real quick. This is MDB right now. This is MDB compared to BNB. So this is how MDB is doing compared to the overall market, at least BNB, which generally follows the rest of the crypto market. So you are outperforming the overall crypto market consistently. Since you started back in May with MDB, Uh, MDB's performance compared to BNB is very, very, it is a very pretty chart. And even in USD, in a bear market where BNB has gone down, so what you've paired with, here, let me switch to the day chart. You guys have been trending up and to the right. Um, yeah, so that's pretty awesome. And last night, compared to BNB, you guys hit all-time highs. So I just wanted to show this as part of this. Part of this AMA I wanted to do is like, how are you guys performing since we last talked? And with
Yeah.
that being said, I know we want to probably wrap up here in a few minutes. Before we go, though, do you want to just touch on that and tell me your thoughts about how MDB is going? A few months into it, how is MDB going? What are your thoughts on your performance so far?
I still think we're undervalued, if I'm honest. I think our market cap is what you've got it there. It's less than 9 million right now. It's tiny, absolutely tiny. Whilst I was on this call, we get a daily trust fund report. Our trust fund today is at 2.07 million. So that's how much that market cap is backed, but it's not that. We've got about 1 million in liquidity as well. So we're just about to hit 1.5 million in stable backed assets on Xenia, and obviously just about to do the pre-sale and launch of Infinity as well. So the fact that our sort of headline token MDB, we're in a position that has a market cap of less than 9 million, and the funds in the protocol will be comfortably touching 4 million plus. I still think we're hugely undervalued, and actually you can see that run up is because really we launched Xenia. So much of our supply, I think 55% of our supply is in single staking. 55%. And then you've got another, I think 10% of our supply is in the farm. And then you've got another, you've got 9% of original supply, which is now more than that because we've burnt 130 odd million tokens. 9% of original supply in team wallets, which is not going anywhere for a long time. So actually, whilst the mechanics of the protocol are working really well, there's also this squeeze. So even though BNB from last month dropped from 330 down to sort of kicking around sort of mid 270s now, you can see that we've still held fairly strong. As soon as there's a little bit of wind in our back, then it's going to be pretty exciting times because people understand the protocol, they understand it's a sustainable system, and so they're prepared. Like YaBonks, you're saying I'm earning MDB rewards. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to lock it up, and I'll lock it up, and it's earning me more. And when I take it out of the safe in the future, then it'll be worth a lot more. But if you want to sell now, that's perfectly fine. You'll actually make the protocol stronger by selling as well. So we're not, there's not this hodl mentality. And I think, I think even in a really difficult market, we've done really well. We've got even bigger things coming. We've got more legs to some of the partnerships that we've got, which I won't mention the details now, but it's going to have a significant uptick in terms of our funds and also the volume. Infinity will drive significant volume. I think as long as the market doesn't capitulate, we've got an opportunity to, by October, to potentially get into a situation where the protocol buybacks and volume is maybe as much as $10,000 a day, and that's a very realistic expectation. Actually, that's not. So three. I think between 250 and 450 by the end of the year a month in protocol volume is kind of where we're aiming for.
Wow, that's awesome, and I appreciate that you have designed this and are transparent about telling people to take profits. You even tell me, like, make sure you take profits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just,
The only person not taking profits is me.
And me, I haven't taken profits yet. But at the same time, I'm taking my farming rewards and just sticking them in the single stake. But this is one of my long-term plays. Like, to me, this is like one of my like go big or go home plays, because I think might be a long-term play personally, not financial advice and all that. But I do appreciate that you tell people it's healthy to take profits. Sell volume helps the protocol just as much as buy volume, and like that concept of the flywheel, that the more volume you churn, the more buybacks you do, the more that goes back into the capital synergy, the treasury fund, which the interest goes back to building it and buying back more, and it gets that thing snowballing. And there are other projects that have like a managed treasury profit sharing system and things like that, but I have not seen any of them perform the way MDB has performed since you've launched. Do you have any idea why you guys are outperforming the other kind of projects that's like their main utility, or their main UPS?
I think USP.
USP. That's it.
I think the truth is that maybe one thing we don't like. We're very methodical in the way we operate. So some people went from sort of BNB to stable, and they were like, they had this big party and talked about it. Apologies, and they talked about it for months. We just did it. We moved 40% of our LP from BNB across to MDB Plus. We did that a long time ago. I can't even remember now. Maybe 12 weeks ago, 13, 14 weeks ago. So rather than pretend that we'd invented fire, we just got together, made the decision, did it because it made financial sense. We've also got lots of other revenue streams as well. So we have MDB Plus has a big impact on the protocol. We've then got Gravity. So we've two projects, or three if you include Lucky Sevens, really. We're gravitying, and that we're not taking anyone hostage in that situation. We recognize, again, using that model of capital synergy, that you put two groups of people, two sets of liquidity into a very sustainable system, then together you're stronger. And Gravity's, I thought we brought in maybe $350,000 worth of volume in our first 3 months through Gravity.
Wow.
And you always think, well, it's going to dry up now, and then all of a sudden we've got Ascend, which we're closing off at the moment, and then we're always flexible. So sometimes like Ascend have got some of their liquidity is locked for 7 months. So we're going to front that liquidity so that people can get their MDB rewards now, and they can sell and walk away if they want to. That's their prerogative. But we'll just accept that we can't get that liquidity in for some time. And we're doing something, with DFirm. They own like an NFT, and so therefore you don't know how much the NFT is going to sell for, but we'll take a bit of risk trying to help close out the situation. So I think, in answer to your question, like the fund, we've got some things right. We've been heavily hedged on stables for quite some time, which has been super helpful. The fact that MDB Plus is one of our largest holding assets and has performed on average around 35% APY and can't go down in value has been huge. We've got some things wrong, definitely. But I think one thing we don't make a lot of noise about is the fact that we've got all of these other revenue streams as well, actually. I think in terms of income as a protocol versus our market cap, if there was a league table, I would say that we'd be in our own league, quite frankly.
You have a lot going on. And for those who don't know the Gravity Project, that's you guys reaching out and making offers to projects that have failed or been rug pulled, and those holders have no options. They're just screwed, basically. And you come in and you say, look, we're going to take a risk, but we will try to liquidate all these assets and then give you guys like this X amount of value back to the community, and salvage whatever you guys have, so whatever value we can for you. And then it creates that synergistic effect where it generates volume for you. It gets people, your community grows as those people are like, hey, what's MDB? Who are these people who are helping us out? I think it's an overall cool strategy. And the whole DFirm rug pull situation, alleged, right? I don't know the full details. I'm not doing an investigation on that. I've just heard. So with that being said, like those people got screwed big time, but you're giving them kind of you're lending them a hand in a mutually beneficial way. So
well, they're doing great at the moment. I think their claim process finishes tomorrow, and this is the first one actually where you could take stables or you could take MDB, and lots of people just voted instantly, went, I want my stables, I'm out of here. And the people who have selected MDB, I'm very happy to say at the moment they're about 12% above the strike price. So not only do you get your MDB tax free, but you've also seen appreciation whilst that claim process has been running on. Our average ROI for Gravity projects is, no word of a lie, 230%. That's our average ROI. I sent you a snippet earlier today. We've launched 4 assets, and I sent you the percentages. We've we've never had anything. Two of them can't go down in value. That's the way they're designed. But even the NFT and the and MDB itself, you know, is hundreds of percent gain. We've never had something go down in value, and Gravity does the same. Our average ROI for a holder who comes across through Gravity so far is plus 230%. That's the average return.
That's awesome, man. So yeah, performance wise, you guys in a bear market have been, in my opinion, knocking it out of the park, and I hope you keep doing it. I, you know, I think that's a great spot to wrap this up. We've gone over an hour already. I know that was our target, so let's end on that note. You guys are doing great so far, and I hope to see it continue. For anybody watching, check out MDB in their Discord server. The community's fantastic. I'm in there. I hang out with like some of my YouTuber friends like Austin Clark and Hazy and stuff. Great group in there. And yeah, ask me any questions. Danny, he's in that Discord server responding to people. mdb.fund is their website. And make sure to enter into my NFT giveaway with 2 more days left. $1,500 NFT I'm giving away thanks to Danny. Yeah. So anything else, Danny? Anything you want to say?
No, just thanks for having us. And yeah, if you like YaBonks said, actually one thing we don't talk probably as much about is the fact that community is really at the center of our strategy as well. And you know, I wanted to build a protocol that I would want to invest in. I wanted to build a community that I would want to be part of, and we invest a lot of time into it. So yeah, you're welcome. We won't put ourselves on a pedestal. We're not perfect, but we do, you know, we analyze what we get wrong and try to improve, and you know, we're very careful in terms of the decisions we make, so we get more right than wrong, but we certainly learn from it when we get it wrong. So it's a very real and very human place to be as well.
Well, I think we can all appreciate that. So, Danny, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Check out all the links in the description if you want to see what we're talking about. Look for Infinity coming. I think the pre-sale starts on the 13th, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And yeah, September 13th, Infinity pre-sale for MDB. Thanks for watching. This is
Which
Alex.
won't be more than 24 hours. It won't be more than 24 hours. There's a hard stop on 24 hours for the pre-sale, by the way. It could be 2 hours.
24 could be 2 hours. So be on alert on September 13th. At any time, it can go down. People are going to be rushing to get in. I am actually traveling to see family that day, and I am probably going to be like on my phone, just like, so. Oh yeah, and I'll try to pop in for the pre-sale. I'm sure you guys are going to do an event and everything. I'll try to pop in if I can. So yeah, Danny, thank you for so much of your time today. I've really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Good stuff. Take care.